Hello, fellow viewers. This is George here, and today I'll be bringing you the after action report for Squad Leader Scenario 6 Escape from Velikiye Luki. So, the date that this battle took place, if you can call it that, was January 12th, 1943. So, after the Battle of Stalingrad, the Germans are on retreat and getting a taste of their own medicine, that being pincer movements, encirclement by the Russians, and huge losses. So in this scenario, it's depicting uh, a situation where the Germans are using the cover of night to withdraw and escape encirclement by the Soviet forces. So what you see here is my worthy opponent's original setup, where he has a squad, at least two squads, so that would be a firepower of 8, 2 times 4, uh, on covering the whole span of the map. Now, doing a dash right up the middle was out of the question. Even with the way nighttime rules work, you're still allowed to fire area fire, and he would, moving in the open, he would have had a more than likely chance of hitting me. So my initial strategy was to set up along each flank, and with each flank I would have decoys. Now, to give you a preview of what my opponent did not know is these 4 units here were all decoys. This unit was a decoy, and he would try to get into the village and try to annoy him as much as possible. My two most powerful units were here, including my most powerful 10 minus 2 leader, 2 squads, and 2 light machine guns. And the plan was to advance through the woods, occupy this building, but we were advancing at only 4 movement factors to ensure that there was no cheating where squads without leaders would not exceed their movement factors. I kind of played it conservatively and said, okay, we're all going to move at 4 rather than letting my opponent know, okay, this is 6 and this is 4. He can automatically deduce where my leader was. So the first turn they've only made it up to here. By the second turn they've made it up to here and occupied that building. But at the same token, this permitted the 8 minus O leader Kohanov to advance into these woods here and have a direct line of fire to this building. These fellows stayed behind, not risking having a shot from here. That was really a mistake. But as you'll see, something did transpire here. Perhaps not in my favor, but something did. At the same token, on the on my left, these units here were dummies, and so were these decoys. And then my firepower, of course, was concentrated here. And the plan was to have these units move up here and take out these squads covering this area here. I wasn't too concerned about the leader up in the second level building here because with the range, the distance, and the amount of blind hexes here, he would have only had one chance to hit me, and in doing so or attempting to do so, he would probably have broken his machine guns. So let's go on to the second slide and see what happens. Well, as luck would have it, uh, one of the two decoys managed to make it here. My squad uh, uh, came up to here and was able to direct fire on these units here. However, uh, my opponent was able to duck and shoot, and this fellow here was out of my reach and out of play, and he would not be any sort of consideration until I had moved my units up here. Um, with these fellows here, I was indecisive as to what to do with them. Should I use them uh, against these units and have a second opportunity to fire at them in case his fire failed? Or should I try and bring him up to here to avoid uh, the Russian units on my right reinforcing uh, the Russian 9-1 leader here? Um, Now, what ultimately really ruined me was the fact that uh, my most powerful leader failed to eliminate Kovanov. Kovanov advanced. Um, now, uh, it was great that he advanced, but already I have exposed two units that were eliminated. There was, I believe, two units here. So right off the bat, my opponent should have known that the majority of my squads would be in this area as well. Um, with the dummies, I kept retreating out of his line of sight, hopefully trying to draw him here in this direction rather than trying to reinforce his other flank down here. It seemed to have worked for a while, but I was unsuccessful in eliminating and clearing this area here. Um, it was uh, really bad luck and tragic that this leader did not succeed in eliminating these squads here. Common sense dictates that everything was done properly and it should have happened, but unfortunately, the Russian player was lucky. Now, we come to the subject of the most often heard complaint for most wargamers, that being randomness. And folks, I don't buy that argument. I believe that you need to take whatever fate deals to you. And if it's bad rules, it's bad rules. And this is what often happens in combat situations. So randomness is not necessarily a bad thing. It's actually something that does occur in combat. You have numerical superiority and you could have weapon superiority, but that does not preclude a lucky opponent from doing damage to you. And this is what happened here. Uh, I am not one of those quote unquote YouTubers that likes to go on uh, and profess that they're almighty at the game that they play. As a matter of fact, there are very few games that I've won in squad leader, and remarkably enough, I've learned more lessons, uh, not only about the game, but also about the history of war by playing these games. And it's important that we have a good recollection of the tragedies that have transpired over time in warfare, including the murder of innocent civilians and the 6 million Jews that died during World War II. So um, this is my situation, and I still was in the game at this point. I was still in the game because there was a good possibility that the Russian player was not able to uh, concentrate enough fire on these units here or even hit them before they could escape and just sneak up the side of the map uh, and exit the map where they were supposed to. So that was the victory condition, the west edge of board 4. Now the alignment on the scenario card is left to right, but this is vertical. So the plan was to sneak them up this direction. Unfortunately, I was to move these units here, and let's see what happens. Um, so these units that were previously in this house here ended up making their way up here, hopefully from preventing any units of moving uh, westward. But they only gathered attention. Uh, Dotsky was frustrated not being able to go to battle, so he first moved on this hill hex, trying to take out my forces. He got a morale check. The units passed the morale check. Um, they advanced here and they were able to first take a shot. Well, actually, they first took a shot from here to Dotsky moving in this hex here, and he passed with flying colors. My machine gun broke, uh, and then ultimately Dotsky was able to advance here um, and bring rain a fire on my German units to no effect. I fired back, broke him. He ended up being stuck in the middle of nowhere down here in the woods with a being broken and rallied. In this case here, despite the numerical superiority, I only managed to break one unit, and I was still blocked here, uh, and I would have probably, at the very least, have given an opportunity for this unit to fire on me in little or no protection. And then what would ensue if I wanted to progress any further would be a fire with the -2 modifier, so the die roll. So a very probable chance that I would either break or get killed. Um, so ultimately, the 8-0 leader, Eastonov, was not able to be very effective at all. And in large part, there were two uh, errors that I did in the scenario. First and foremost, my diversion attack failed, um, which was bad luck. And my second biggest error was I should have risked moving everything up here and going all out against these units. And I didn't. Now, live and learn, and that's basically my after action report with respect to scenario 6. We're playing the squad leader scenarios in chronological order. We hope to start next week playing scenario 5, which is really a challenging scenario. In this case, I'll be playing the Russians. I'll be back on the Soviet side again, and my opponent will be playing the Germans. Um, I was indifferent as to either either side. It will be now uh, July 1944, and the Germans have routed all the way to Minsk. They are on the retreat against numerically uh, superior forces. However, again, one thing that is lacking on the Soviet side is adequate leadership, as opposed to the Germans being excellent tacticians and having excellent leaders. And sometimes that's all that you require to make a difference is excellent leadership. And I'm a bit surprised that throughout this game, the Soviet leaders or leadership it remains constantly poor. I would think that the Soviet side or the Soviet leadership, as the war progressed, would have improved. However, in the author's opinion, in this case, it seems that they were constant throughout, being the constant being poor. So let me know your thoughts and your comments below. I'm always interested in knowing what you think. And Until we see each other again or talk again, adios. Take care.